What's up, you beautiful chuds, and welcome to the Creep Zone, where we have very honest, very unrated, unfiltered conversations about something from the world of horror. On this episode, we are talking about a deep cut gem from the 80s, the types of movies that I always talk about now, the types of movies that I think that we all need now more than ever with this very nihilistic approach. Although I'm talking about nihilistic movies, and the last episode is like one of the most depressing movies that you ever watch. But no, we're past that now. We're past the nihilism. We're now into deep cut, crazy, wild 80s movies, almost the 90s. Although it does feel a little bit like a crossover. I don't know if you guys agree, but we'll get there anyway. But of course, on this one, we're talking about Nightmare Beach. Now, a lot of you are probably going, what's Nightmare Beach? I've never heard of it. Well, guess what? You're probably not going to know anything about this fucking episode, but go and watch it if you haven't, and then come back to this one. But Nightmare Beach is a super fun movie, and I'm looking forward to talk about it. And I wouldn't want to talk about it with any other people rather than my guests today. Of course, I have the legends they are. A couple of absolutely beautiful bearded bastards. From Dewey Pod-Monster, I have John and Sean with me. Hello, guys. Thank you for coming back on the show.
Go Gators.
Go Gators. That's one of my notes. That's one of my notes in here as well. But yeah, thank you guys for coming back on the show. And of course, we've already discovered, and I have bloody watched it or listened to it. You guys have covered Nightmare Beach on your show before. And I'm sure that's probably what inspired me to want to get you guys to come on and talk about it with me with Let's Talk Horror. But yeah, we're going to get into this one because this is a wild ride from, as I said, right at the end of the 80s, from 1989. It's directed by James Justice and Umberto Lenzi, but there's going to be more on that later because it confuses the fuck out of me who made this movie. I don't really fucking, but you guys have covered it, so you'll know more than me. Hopefully, anyway.
We do know a little bit about that because we covered the other movie that he shot while milking the studio system for a free trip to Florida too.
Fucking hell, this guy. I mean, when I read up about it, I did think that this guy's a little bit shady. So I didn't. Yeah, I didn't look into anything more, but there is a little bit weird in regards to who actually directed this movie. But I'll speak about it later. This film is starring the legendary John Saxon, Michael Parks. I remember him from something, and I can't remember what else he's been in, but he has been in stuff, Michael Parks.
He's in a ton of stuff.
He's
in Red State, he's in Tusk, he's in basically every Tarantino and Rodriguez movie. He's one of the two Western cops that they pepper in through, like I said, I think all their movies. So he's been in a lot of stuff. Michael Parks is a fucking brilliant actor, or was a brilliant actor.
Oh, is he dead?
Yeah, he died 3-4 years ago, something like that.
God's sake, I really need to do my research because every time I talk about somebody on this show, they're dead. Do you reckon that this
just when you talk to us?
Yeah. Do you reckon that this is a movie that Tarantino saw and put him in movies? Like, is this a Tarantino I'm
sure he saw it, but I don't know whether or not this is the movie that decided to start putting him in other movies. But I would be shocked if Tarantino hasn't seen this.
Yeah, I'd be shocked. This is the type of movie that I imagine Tarantino liking. Although there's not enough shots of feet in this movie. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of shots of everything else, but maybe not enough feet for him. But it's got Rawley Valverde, if that's right, Nicholas D. Toth, Sarah G. Buxton, Lance Legault. I mean, basically, it's a fucking Spring Break movie. I'm not going through like every single fucking person that's on Spring Break, but there's a shit load of people in it. IMDb, it's 5.4 out of 10 and 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. Fuck you, Rotten Tomatoes. This is not a 16% movie. I mean, I can get why it is for a modern day audience, but not for people like me who love fucking movies like this. Google synopsis wise, a criminal is executed, but it returns on his motorcycle to carry out his revenge on the residents and tourists of a town in Florida. Florida? Why did I say it like that? I made it sound like a Star Wars place.
You made it sound cooler.
Florida. It either sounds like a place in Star Wars or a type of butter. Yeah, that's it. There we go. But of course, I always like to ask my guests, when did you first see this movie? I want to know from you guys because I feel like this is definitely a movie that is part of like the American culture of VHS more so than it is what we get over here, because obviously we all know that, you know, we've spoken many times that the UK sucks for movies like this, because very rarely did we get any movies like this over here or released. So it'd be interesting to know if this is like a VHS rental childhood movie for you guys.
I don't. This wasn't one that I rented on VHS, but I have seen I saw the cover, the tape cover, a lot, and just kind of one of those movies where you see the tape cover and it sticks in your memory for years to come, as to like, oh yeah, that thing, that thing. You kind of reoccurringly see it, but I haven't. I think the first time I saw it was maybe 5 years ago. It hasn't been all that long since the first time I seen it.
For me, I don't remember when I saw this first. I like Sean said, I remember seeing the videotape. I know that, you know, motorcycle helmet and like it looked cool and whatnot, but I honestly don't remember if I rented this back from the video store or not. I'm Someone can cross check me on our episode, see what I said there. Maybe I remembered better at that point, but I remember watching this from probably the last few years as well. Again, I couldn't pinpoint an exact time, but it definitely feels like something that I would have found a long time ago, and it kind of in that same vein of a movie like Trick or Treat, like you found it back when you were a kid, and then just so much other stuff comes out, and it just kind of goes into the pool of other movies, and then whether it's the first time you watched it or whether it's the movie that like you're rediscovering it, it felt like a very familiar place once I started watching this again.
Well, what we've established is what I said at the start is completely fucking wrong, and no one, no, it's like it's not bigger than what it is in over in the US and what it is. But I'm
Well,
exactly the
this
same.
one's
Gone.
as far as that, like this is a I think this would probably be branded like an Italian import, like dubbed horror movie. And there's certainly like, especially now, there's a lot of people like us that find that type of stuff really fun and interesting or whatever. But I mean, at least for the area that we're in, like most of the you know, other weirdos in our age group, or at least the ones I was around, we didn't really get into that kind of horror until well at like basically till we could start downloading stuff or streaming stuff. Most of the people like stuff that at least again, I can't speak for Sean, but for me, it was mostly like the big slasher franchises, or trauma stuff. It was like polar extremes. This was almost like too good to be in like the trauma like bin, but not good enough to be with the stuff that's gonna instantly distract you from the bigger things that you want to rent, because it's not like when you're streaming or downloading, you just have it all at your fingertips. You kind of had to ration what you were and weren't picking up.
Yeah, you're right. Like one of my notes that I wrote down here was that this movie borderlines those movies that are so bad that they're good, but at the same
Mhm.
time, I look at this movie and I'm like, no, this movie is actually just good for quite a lot of reasons, and then obviously it's bad for a lot of reasons. But it could easily, like, a few more like really bad things that happen in it could have easily put it into the category of like bad movies that you watch because they're so bad, and then they're good because of it. But I still think that this is definitely like about, like you're saying, like you know, in regards to it, it's above certain other, you know, movies that are like those movies that are a little bit lesser down. um but yeah, it's interesting because I saw this. I think I saw it, like, it must have been about 5 years ago as well, because I this was one of the movies that I watched when I pretty much started first doing Let's Talk Horror, which obviously started during, you know, the lockdown and stuff. So I must have seen this about five years ago as well for the first time. But this is one of those movies, once again, like so many, that, like, why I'm thankful for streaming, because you know, like I always say, that the UK's always really been shit for a lot of deep cut horrors. You know, like we've always had like a lot of, like, you know, the bigger horrors and stuff like that. And then of course in the 80s and 90s, anything that was considered, you know, like deep cut horrors and all that sort of stuff, and the you know, they were all fucking banned, and you couldn't get them and you couldn't watch them. So really my catalog when I was a kid and growing up was anything that you could really get from Blockbuster, you know, and that was always going to be like the big stuff, the mainstream. And obviously the horror section had more, but that's why I loved like my journey through horror, because it was all about like reading magazines and stuff and finding like these other movies. And then of course when the internet came around, then that was the greatest thing in the world, because then I was going on like horror movie websites as a teenager, and then I would be like, oh shit, like what's this movie? I've never heard of it. And Nightmare Beach was always one that I had heard about, but I'd never seen it because we didn't have it over here. And then finally, because of the brilliance that he's streaming now, I know a lot of people have a thing against it, but I love it before the fact that now in the UK I get to go on things like Shudder and like Amazon and stuff, and there's so many movies that I wanted to see and never got a chance to, and now I get to. And Nightmare Beach was one of them, and then it opens up that doorway, you know, to these sort of like deep cut horrors that like, and that's why I'm doing this episode, because there's so many people, especially in the UK, that have no idea what a movie like Nightmare Beach is. And then I get to talk about it. No one will listen or watch it, but at least people will know, oh, there's a film called Nightmare Beach and it might be worth a watch. And guess what? It bloody is. So, but we're going to go into it. But of course, on this show, I've gone back to, because you have requested it, because you enjoy it, where I go through the entirety of the movie. I do a run through of the movie, scene by scene. We get into the nitty gritty of it. And the reason that I like it and the reason that you say you like it is because I get to those moments that you love in the movie. We get to talk about and go in a little bit more detail about whether the good things in the movie, the bad moments in the movie, and we get to have a laugh going through it. So we open the movie. That's not even how you say the word movie, but I'm apparently I'm drunk on iced tea. But we open the movie with a beautiful sunrise and some absolute badass bikers and some crazy looking dude. He's getting electrified. I've put electrified, not even electrocuted to death. He's getting electrified to death. And he had some nasty words to say to some super hot woman. He turns around and what does he say? He's like, "I'm going to kill your sister, bitch!" And already you're like, "What the fuck is going on?" And
basically says, "I'm not dying." So
yeah, and but it's so funny, like how I don't know if, and once again, it could be different for you guys, but this like it's so quickly like how like we get into it and how quickly like this happens, and I don't know if you're the same, but obviously it looks as though like there's already a shifty sort of look around the room between like the guy from Kevin Smith movies that I've forgotten his name already, and John Saxon as well. There's already sort of like a
talking about Michael Parks.
Yeah, that's it. That's right. But yeah. R.I.P.
I mean, I guess that's right, but I don't know that he would want to be identified as the guy from Kevin Smith.
No, I know, but I know that, but that's the first thing that comes into my mind. I didn't want to say the guy that died. If people are going to come back
from the dead, if people are going to come back from the dead, the first thing they're going to do is be like, "Hey, I'm that guy from Tarantino movies, not Kevin Smith movies." So.
Yeah, I know, but you got to remember, I'm thick as shit, and I already forgot he's in every Tarantino movie. I just remembered that he was in Tusk, and it was shit. But anyway, but the funny thing that I find about I hate that movie. But the funny thing that I find about this is a couple things. Is already we're getting a sense, like, because it goes into this scene really quickly, and already you're getting a sense that like everybody's a bit shifty. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're already doing like side looks, like side glances when he's talking, and already you're like, maybe there's a little bit more to this. Like maybe he's been framed. Already I was like, he's been fucking framed. But also it made me laugh when he's just like, I'm going to kill your sister bitch straight away. But I don't know if you guys like, it's so, his electrocution is so anticlimactic. It's like, it literally happens. And like, you know what I mean? Like, it reminds me of that movie Shocker, you know, like where like, or like, you know, you've got like
another movie we need to be
reminded of.
We need to talk about that movie more. But anyway,
but that movie, or like these movies, you know, like every time you have like the person that is in the electric chair, like it's always a proper scene, intense scene, and they're always like, you know, you normally have the scene where they like he dies and then they come back and then like, you know what I mean? But there is nothing to this scene. Like the guy who flicks the switch and then he's just sitting there like this, and then he goes, and then that's pretty much it. And he's like, and then they check his pulse and he's like, he's gone. And you're like, hang on a minute. Like, I wanted more from that. I don't know if you guys were the same.
I think it's odd that they refer to him. This is like a formal procedure, right? Like they're electrocuting this guy. They have to make sure that they don't have a pardon from the governor or whatever on the phone. and they use his nickname as part of his real name, right?
Yeah.
He's Eduardo Diablo Santor. It's like if Richard Ramirez goes to the electric chair. Is he dead, John? As our
Yeah, he's
Ramirez.
yeah,
I
but
think.
he died, but not from I think he died of like a heart attack or something
well,
like
just as
that.
an example, right? If
Yeah.
they're like, does anybody have any objection to Richard the Night Stalker Ramirez being executed? It's just weird.
Right.
Like, I don't feel like a government ceremony would be using people's aliases in their
No, but I sort of wish they would. That would be pretty like whatever the guy, like he's like whatever BTK. I can't like, you know what I mean? Like they should be.
Yeah.
They should be recognised as the bastards that they are in court during death, everything like that. But yeah,
I mean,
that is.
BTK would get off on that, but whatever. So
Oh yeah, you're right. Maybe they would. That's the problem. Maybe they don't do it because Ramirez is the type of person who would get a fucking chubby in court thinking about them calling him that, wouldn't they? The piece of shit. But anyway, but then we cut straight from the anticlimactic, death scene of the electrocution that doesn't do enough. But then we get some classic proper 80s jam. This is proper like 80s moving into 90s sort of like soundtrack. Of course, it's fantastic. And we get the title card, Nightmare Beach, motherfuckers. On the beach, it's boobs, bums, and muscles galore, and nothing but fun times for now. This movie keeps on cutting back to like all the shit that's because obviously runtime is something that has to happen, so they have to keep on cutting back throughout the movie to like shit, all the fun they're having on spring break and like random things. It reminds me.
It is pretty fun whenever they're like, we need another like minute or two in the movie. They're like, just go to the beach and get some TNA and pop that in there.
Yeah,
that happens a lot throughout
and
the
it's
movie.
fucking great. I'm not knocking it. I love it.
Yeah, it's not a complaint.
No, it's not a complaint. No, that's a plus in it. So some old dudes and John Saxon, who we guess, of course, once again, John Saxon, he's only allowed to be in movies if he plays a cop. And we all know that. Like that's like a stipulation. I don't think I've ever seen a movie where he doesn't play a cop. Have you?
I know I have, but I can't think of what it is at the moment.
Hands of Steel. He's not a cop in Hands of Steel.
Yeah,
but
there
he
we
is
go.
like
I was gonna say, I know we've covered at least one or two where he's not a cop, but yes,
I think he's some kind of agent though.
Oh, really?
He's cop adjacent.
He's cop adjacent, as he's either a cop or cop adjacent. But basically this guy and some other old guys, they're not happy with all these kids that are going fucking absolutely mental. Basically they don't want these kids. They're a bunch of nerds. Basically, they don't want these kids on spring break to have fun. That you've got to have bad guys in the movie. These are going to be the bad guys. We know that they're going to be. Although surprisingly to me, John Saxon, because I mean they're not well, are they bad guys? Yeah, I'm going to say they are. But yeah, they are. But John Saxon, I was surprised in this the first time watching because I normally like, of course, Nancy's dad, Nightmare on Elm Street, and a cop, yeah. So you don't normally always, or someone like me, I haven't seen his catalogue of movies, and I only seen him as a fucking cop, but I didn't expect him to be what he becomes in this movie, which was a nice surprise to me because I think he's brilliant in it, and I always like John Saxon. I think although I called him Jan Saxon, which is his Swedish brother, but I've never seen many movies with John Saxon where I'm like, he's shit in that, because he's not. So we get introduced to a couple of main dudes. This is Ronnie and Skip. Shit names. They obviously we get introduced to them. They are checking out the babes and getting a room for spring break. And they have a lot of Johnnies, which over here is a name. You guys probably know what Johnnies are, but over here we call it, that's what another name for condoms. And basically they're planning on having a shitload of games of sex. And I don't know, these characters are funny. Like one of them, they feel very polar opposite in regards to like them as people. So it feels weird that they're friends.
There's a narrative reason behind why they act and why they're friends. So I don't know if you're getting this or not, but they're teammates on the Florida. Is it the Florida Gators football? Are they Florida Gators?
I don't know if they're Gators or not. I don't remember
whatever. Because it looks like they come from another town.
Well,
they lost
whatever it is, they lost the national championship game or big game or whatever, and Mopey Mick, I'm not getting laid. Skip is the quarterback who threw 5 interceptions or something like that in the game.
Doesn't he say that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they say it a couple times. Like hype him up. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other guy is a wide
receiver.
receiver. Yeah, who
He takes
dresses. Yeah, literally. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're just the friendship between them is a bit weird, but also at the same time, that's because of their shit acting. That doesn't help. But basically, back with John Saxon and the other miserable sods. A grave is being dug up, and guess who it is? It's the guy that got electrocuted from from earlier. So already we're like, oh shit, he's come back alive. You're like, what's happening? Is it like a possession? Is it like a fucking curse shit going on? But obviously, like, at this point, none of them really overly believe it. They just think somebody's dug up his grave and stuff. But obviously, we see what happens throughout the movie. But already night is fallen, and some chick is hitching. I said chick, don't know why I did that. Is hitching for a ride, and someone all in leather is wearing a sick red helmet. Picks her up, so she's like hitching and stuff like that, and of course we all smell trouble, but what we do smell is burnt flesh, because I was absolutely bloody right, because somehow, and don't ask me how this happens, but he's got like this fucking red button on his bike, and when he presses this red button, he's able to electrocute this woman, and then obviously she's definitely dead. She's completely crispy, and I'm like, what's the motive? Like, I don't know whether this is just a case of this guy is going around murdering everyone, or is or like, I felt sorry for her straight away. All she's doing is fucking hitchhiking, and then he turns her in shit, crispy.
And she's with a group of people, and all those people get picked up, and they just leave her. Want want. You hear the sad trombone or whatever, and they drive away. And then this guy on a motorcycle pulls up, on a sweet like Honda Goldwing or whatever, pulls up, and I don't understand how he doesn't get electrocuted, because she's sitting right behind him. You would think that current would travel. Maybe the seat's made of rubber or something. I don't know. But yeah, her headlight's on fire.
Yeah, look. I mean,
I love how they're trying to portray, like, they're trying to set up the red herring that he's Diablo or whatever, except no self-respecting like biker would ever drive this suburban dad like fucking Honda,
right.
whatever, with a goddamn like generator and like all this lightning conductor on the back of it. Like, there's no biker in the world that would ever ride this monstrosity of a bike, but it's entertaining for what it is, and it's unique murder weapon. So,
well, yeah, because I didn't even think about that. Now in my head, I've got him like obviously we get to it, but obviously imagine him turning up like to their biker meeting that they have, and he's there, just turns up in this red helmet, leathers, and he's like, mum's big weekend bike, and you know what I mean? And it, and it just doesn't
have the little bell on it, so it goes ding ding as he's like pulling up.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I felt really sorry for this girl, because you're right. Like, she's with her friends, they fuck off. They're like, get your own ride, and because of it, she dies. But then, of course, with this being, all about TNA, we cut straight to a pool party, and the hotel worker, basically, he's obviously a fucking weirdo. And he's constantly mumbling, like, he hates these fucking kids, like, and he does look like a perv, and he is a fucking perv, because he has a Norman Bates peephole that he keeps on looking at some woman through the hole. And yeah, he's a fucking, I mean, we know that he's going to die at some point. How? We don't know, but of course he's going to die, because he's a big old perv. But then now Ronnie and Skip, they pull up to the cool kids bar. There's like one bar that they all go to in like on this place when it's spring break, even though you would think there'd be more, but apparently this is the place where they all go. And already, as they turn up, the biker gang called the Demons, obviously, probably based on the movie. I mean, the logo's the same on the back of it. But already the bike
little touches in the movie is that they use that same. I don't know
like
if they're just like leftover. I was gonna say, I don't know if they're just leftover crew jackets that they were like, well, throw them in this movie too. But it's for better or worse, it's a fun look, and it's a fun little nod to something. It's almost, I don't want to go as far to call it like with the first time you see something meta in horror, because I don't know if that, one, have no idea if that's true or not, and two, don't think they were being that clever. It's probably just what they had around, but it's a nice little, for the audience, nod to like, hey, remember that other movie that you probably liked? So.
And it's also a really weird movie, because they are not very similar in tone and so on, much. So it's so weird that you're like you're like, if you know horror, then you know demons, then you watch this and they're like, what the fuck is the connection here? Like, you know what I mean? It's weird. But already as soon as Ronnie and Skip, they pull up, and the biker gang is already all over them, they're causing shit. There's like the main biker guy who is in it obviously quite a bit. He is such a bad actor. Like I feel like it's almost as if like he was part of like a real biker gang that they just found and was just like, do you want to be in a movie? And then he's just
I
like,
don't
sure.
think I think they found a random Italian guy and said act like an American biker, and that's
I don't think
what we
he's
get.
Italian.
Okay.
Is he Mexican?
I think he's Latin of some sort, but
yeah, I think he is. Like
When I
there's,
say Italian, I mean whoever like was on their crew
Oh.
from Italy and that was able to take a plane over to
is that
Miami
what you're saying,
with them.
John?
Yes.
but it's but yeah, he's really bad. Like it's almost as if he's like he's struggling to say dialogue. Let's just say that much. But I don't think that. But it's not to do with his language, so to speak, or anything. I think it's just the fact that he's a shit actor and he can't really say words properly, like that they've been given. But funnily enough, he's in it quite a bit, and I was surprised by that because he's pretty shit. But already they're giving Ronnie and Skip some absolute shit. But John Saxon, for the first time, out of the fucking blue, which he does the entirety of this movie like a guardian angel, sort of. John Saxon turns up in the nick of time, but obviously he's here, basically he doesn't like throw down or anything, doesn't get his gun out at the moment. He's just verbally being like, look, get the fuck out of here to everyone and everything like that. John Saxon, of course, looks bloody good in the uniform, especially this one, because this is like a little bit tighter than his normal ones, like this is like almost like a beach, like almost like a police academy Steve Guttenberg sort of like one, where it's a little bit more like form fitting and stuff like that. But yeah, he's basically asking them about, he tells all these fuckers to get, these bikers to fuck off and everything like that. And then we head into the bar for the first time with Ronnie and Skip, and Ronnie is working his best moves. Obviously he's a big, like, big time player apparently, but it doesn't really work out like that in the movie. And he's working his moves
Generally,
on the bar,
hitting on the bartender usually doesn't go well for you.
No, exactly. And that's exactly what he does. He's working his moves on the bartender. And she's obviously having absolutely none of it. And then straight away, as they're sitting down, even though he's trying to get laid, Skip, he could have got lucky straight away with the world's most like horny and forward woman in the world, who like literally just comes up to him and is basically offering him whatever she wants, whatever he wants, and then he, like an absolute mug, he turns it down. So what's the point in even going here on spring break if you're not going to fuck everyone? Like, I don't get it.
He lost the big game. He's down.
Oh yeah, yeah. But what's better than being when you're down to get up more than one way than ever? You know what I mean? Like, he's a bit of a mug. If I'd have lost the football game, I'd be, doing everyone. But anyway, but yeah, so he turns this woman down, but the barmaid, she does that little look where she looks almost like a little bit happy at it, like he's like, oh, he's not the normal guy that we get around here in this bar and sort of stuff. We know that those two are going to become something and so on, but she's pretty happy about it. And then Skip leaves, and then now there's a character in it, and she keeps on, basically, she's absolutely stunning. She's blonde, she's got curly blonde hair, but she keeps on basically fucking all the old dudes. Because she's like taking money from stuff, like she keeps on flirting. So I'm assuming she's a lady.
Yeah, she's a prostitute.
Yeah. So I'm assuming, because when it first happened, I was just like, I don't know if she is, because I didn't know if she was just. It just, the first time it happened, it felt weird to me because I thought maybe she was just like fucking an old dude. But then when it happened again, I was like, oh, she's a lady of the night, like. I didn't think she was, and to be honest, I was quite gutted about it because she's absolutely stunning. Because as soon as I knew she was a lady of the night, I knew that she was going to die at some point, and I was gutted because I was hoping she was going to be like the main woman in it because she's so absolutely stunning. But unfortunately not. She's a lady of the night, and she keeps on fucking all the old dudes in it, and I was a little bit jealous, to be honest. But obviously, it's only a movie.
I will say, as long as we're talking about the hookers in this movie, and
prostitute in the room,
yeah, they find some of the like nastiest dudes for her to crawl on top of. Thankfully, we don't have to watch it, because it's like you found the dregs of Miami to come up there and pretend they're picking up a hooker.
Yeah, I do feel really sorry for her, and then also like. She has to be the one that like is the one where she's always like half naked, and then the peeping Tom guy looks through the thing. Yeah. So yeah, she definitely.
These are the kind of guys that look like, man, they just look like they smell because they're unable to bathe properly.
They have a lot of skin tags.
Yeah, that too.
But yeah, she's. I mean, to me, she's the hottest one in this movie, and there's a lot of hot women in it. But she's absolutely fucking stunning. But then the movie.
I think it's ironic that she's a hooker. She is propositioning these guys. There's the peephole in her room, and she never once shows up naked.
For this movie, it's weird because it's not like they're afraid to show you boobs.
Right.
Or
no, well, that's what I was just about to say, because I was just like, maybe it's like one of those movies where, like, are we transitioning into, like, where they're trying to go against that normal thing that obviously horror, like with this being at the end of the 80s, like, is it they're transitioning into the 90s where they're like, we want to show less of, you know, this what we do, the sexualization of women. But then I literally, as soon as I said that,
and then it cuts to like two wet t-shirt contests like immediately after this. So probably not.
I know, and that's what I completely forgot. But yeah, the next scene, this bit made me laugh out loud because the movie then at this moment it turns into Jaws because on the beach there's obviously some hottie absolutely running around shouting shark, and you're like, oh, they've gone all Jaws. And then with no regard for anyone's safety whatsoever, the cop just pulls out his gun and just starts fucking shooting the shit out of like the water. Everybody's running around. He could have killed anyone. But instead, and then obviously the guy gets out the water, and it's just obviously a prank that there's a character that keeps on obviously playing pranks throughout the movie, which we keep getting to. But that I literally laughed out loud at that moment because I was like, what the fuck is this cop doing? He just stands there, pulls out his pistol, goes fucking Clint Eastwood, and everybody. I expected there to be a moment where like there was like 3 or 4 people.
He goes Sheriff Brody on him. They managed to rip off Jaws and Jaws 2 in like 30 seconds.
yeah, you're right. They're obviously like we've got if we homage Jaws or do what Jaws does, that means it's a good movie, right? And then they were like, yeah, sure, that's right.
Didn't Lento rip off Jaws with that? What was that, The Last Shark or what? Wasn't that his movie too?
Ultimate Squallow? Is that what you're talking about?
Something like yeah. Isn't that Lenzo, or is that?
I don't know.
Is that another Jaws ripoff?
Yeah, it's like it's the Italian Jaws or something like that.
Straight after that bit, like you were saying, we get into, which obviously goes completely against my point of them. Maybe they're trying to transition from showing boobs and arse constantly to not. We do get it because we get the wet t-shirt competition, and there is not. It's so funny because there's a massive fucking crowd like watching these women get a wet t-shirt, you know, boobs out, everything like that. But there is not a single woman apart from the women that are like doing the stuff in that entirety of the crowd. It is just men, and there is no women. Like it made me laugh because the crowd is massive. But then also I started like thinking to myself, I was just like, do you reckon that was for the film, or do you reckon that was just happening and they just filmed it?
I think that's just how it is.
That was what it was like in the 80s. But yeah, and then as soon as the 90s happened, they were like, we can't do this anymore, it's illegal. But yeah, so then we have the wet t-shirt competition. So that if you love boobs, that's for you. Ronnie is out on his own trying to pick up babes, and he gets lucky, but he's not that lucky as the woman is the biker chick from earlier on. And then obviously we know something a little bit shady is going to go. And this means trouble for Ronnie as they beat the absolute shit out of him and steal his favourite necklace. Weird looking necklace, especially for a guy. But it doesn't get any better for him because the leather clad killer, he on the bike, he turns up and electrifies Johnny. I'll put electrifies again, Ronnie, and now he's definitely dead. So yeah, so we get that scene. The woman is a bitch, and they beat the shit out of him. The guy that can't act, they all beat the shit out of Ronnie, steal his necklace, as you have to, because everybody in the
save us from watching him anymore in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, he's really fucking bad, isn't he?
He's just.
I don't think he is.
Oh, okay.
I just find him obnoxious, and I don't think he's so much bad. I think he honestly feels right at home with like this era of slasher movie character.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're like, right.
I think he's fine as far as that goes. He just annoyed me. So when they kill him, I'm like, well, at least I don't have to listen to him anymore. So
yeah, I think you're exactly right, because I just when I was watching it, I was like, once again, I was just like, he's like a pretty bad actor. He's struggling to deliver like lines, like to work as a movie, but then you're exactly right. Like, he fits these types of movies, so like, and he is one of those people that you can imagine him being in those movies that are so bad they're good. You know what I mean?
I don't know who else could deliver a line like, how would you like that doing squats on your tool? If he was a bad actor, he wouldn't be able to say lines like that. I think
No, you're
he's
right.
actually a good actor because he's probably not acting. Like, that is
Yeah,
how
you're right.
he would be in person at a place like this. He would take that role. He went on, anybody in the States that's heard of Channel One, Rowley Valverde was on Channel One. He was a person that people know. So he's not a total turd, but I don't think his personality during this time frame would have been much different than how he is in this movie.
So do you reckon he's like a Mario Lopez, where there's no fucking difference
Yeah, I think that
between
is a
Mario
perfect
Lopez and
analogy.
yeah.
Perfect.
There's
I couldn't have said it better myself.
difference between AC Slater and Mario Lopez,
Yeah.
and it's the
Where
same
does
as
AC
Ronnie.
end and where does Mario begin? We don't know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But after that, of course, Ronnie, he's definitely dead. And the cops are inspecting the body, and they're still scared at this point because now they're starting to think that it is Diablo, or whatever he's fucking. I think it's Diablo, isn't it? And basically, there's more hell to come. They at this moment they're starting to think, oh shit, now his grave's been dug up. Or something's happened. They're starting to like think a little bit about that. Maybe it is him. He's come back for revenge. But back out of the bar, and some blonde guy is stealing shit. There's a guy that I don't know why he's in this, but he keeps on just. Is there any other purpose for this guy in the movie other than the fact that it's like for comical relief? Like, he's just there, he just
Add to
keeps
the body
stealing
count.
shit. Well, yeah, I suppose.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think he's there to sprinkle in red herrings and wild goose chases and stuff. I think that's what the purpose he serves. There's a scene at the beginning of the movie. He's getting out of that Jeep with all the girls, and he's like, "Hey, thanks for the ride. Here's some gas money." And he ends up stealing some of their money. And then on the beach, he's like stealing people's money here and there, but he's also the prankster. So the scene where they're like, "Oh, shark, shark," he weirdly enough runs into the scene and then steals their money, and then he's the guy with the shark fin on his back. That happens literally 5 seconds later and is being shot at. So I don't even understand. He's like, have you ever played Golden Axe and that little elf or whatever that runs around, you hit them and you get their potions and stuff? That's what he is. He's just there to add a little bit of chaos, but he's a total red herring, just like the prostitute. Total red herring, has nothing to do with anything else except for body count, like John said.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously, like, at the same time as well, then you get the guy, he's like at the bar and he's like really wants a fucking beer really badly, and he wants it so much he stabs his own hand. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then he stabs it, and then he's like, it's just a prank again. Like, he just pulls it out, and it's just like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, rather than going around trying to get laid, he's just going around pranking everyone. He's like a fucking, like, he thinks he's Johnny Knoxville.
I think he's the thief. I think they're the same people.
I think there's two different ones, isn't there? Because the thief
I don't
guy
know.
is like
when
really
I watched it this
rat-looking.
time, I couldn't tell if it was two
Oh,
different
really?
people, because their hair is the same. They look the same, but
I think
don't
there's
know.
two different people. Otherwise, like you're saying, it doesn't make any sense that this guy is so like everywhere. Because one minute he's like stealing shit.
This is the most debate that's been given to Nightmare Beach ever in the history of this movie.
In the history of this
Even
character.
script writers didn't debate it this much.
No, exactly. They
The
were like, put
director-
him here, put him there, put him wherever we want, and it doesn't matter anyway. But yeah, so Ronnie is Skippy's out looking for Ronnie, but we at this point, he doesn't know anything about what's happened to Ronnie. We know that he's dead. And then so he's going off to find him, and he's still and he's doing it whilst in another scene we get more half-naked women dancing for more horny dudes. This time you don't see their boobs, but they're still doing like some proper 80s sort of dancing and stuff. And once again, there's no other women in sight. It's just shitloads of fucking horny, chubbied up dudes. So Skip sees the biker girl, and she's wearing Ronnie's necklace, and now he's on the case case driving after her really badly. She knows that he's like there the whole fucking time. Like there's nothing incognito about his driving whatsoever.
Chase scenes, like anytime you have a vehicular chase scene in this movie, whether it's on a bike or in a car, whatever the case is, they're so bad that they're amazing. Like these chase
Yeah.
scenes all are at like 5 miles per hour. It's always like the worst vehicle being chased by a dramatically faster vehicle, and they're all shot like just so comically shittily. I love them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Like literally throughout this, every time I've got my synopsis as we go through it, it's pretty much mentioning how it's the slowest chase that's ever been put on. And you're right, like how it's filmed, it's just so like fucking flat. Like there's nothing creative about how they're filming these scenes. They're the slowest scenes, like slowest chase scenes that have ever been put to film have to go to this movie. Maybe that's like the recognition where it gets is maybe not recognition, but maybe it's in the Guinness Book of Records of being the world's slowest car chase scenes.
Should be.
But yeah, so Skip is tailing this woman really badly, and she leads him to this old sort of like factory sort of place or whatever it is. This is where all the bikers, all the demons, they're all hanging out. But then he gets caught because of course he's shit at driving and shit at hiding. But once, so she gets caught once again out of nowhere, like a guardian angel. John Saxon turns up once again to save him, but not before Skip takes back Ricky's necklace and he fucks right off. He rips it off. This necklace, obviously, that means so much to him. But he's once again, it keeps on making me laugh because every time, like, John Saxon he's almost like the Fonz in Happy Days. You know what I mean? Like how the Fonz would just turn up and go, hey! Like John Saxon is like in this movie where something is happening. John Saxon just literally pulls up in his cop car and it's just like, I'm here. And then he doesn't go, hey, although I'd like him to. But yeah, so Skip fucks off. And then sexy curly blonde lady is still fucking old dudes, unfortunately. A bit gutted about that. And then the perv at the hotel, he goes to spy through his Norman Bates hole again. But bad idea because, like I said, we're waiting for this motherfucker to die. And of course he does. The killer biker is here. But sadly, we don't actually see what happens to him. I was actually gutted about that. Like I was hoping we were going to see like a death because that's the point of these movies, isn't it? We're supposed to see how like these fucking people die, but we don't. And then the sexy blonde lady.
It is weird for a movie that has such like over the top ridiculous kills. This one they chose to off screen him to death. At least we get to see the aftermath, but like. Well, I think there's only 2 or 3 guys that are off-screened in this because there's a point later where they start finding additional bodies. But you're right; it does feel like why cut away for this one? So
yeah, I want to see this motherfucker die, however it's going to happen. Looking at this beautiful lady, I want to see how he dies, but we don't get to. But then back in the sexy blonde lady's room, who obviously, is a lady of the night, she's getting creeped out because there's stuff going, like doors opening, windows, whatever in her room. And then she actually sees the perv looking through the little Norman Bates hole. Obviously, it's not him. Well, it is him, but something's happened to him. So she goes to confront him, but what gets, basically he's been strangled, which is annoying that we didn't see it, but he's been strangled with, whatever it is. What they call that fucking shit? Cheese wire? No,
it's like
that's
a wire or something.
Piano wire.
Yeah, something like that. And then blonde lady, she runs to the lift, but the lift gets stuck. And then the killer biker man was somehow, he's got himself, I don't know how he gets everywhere, but he's got himself on top of the lift. And then he pulls, basically he does like happens in loads of fucking movies where he's on top of the lift. And then he goes down really slowly for some reason. His hand moves down really slowly, grabs her hair, and then electrocutes her. Well, I don't even know how that works either. I mean, I suppose they're in a lift or whatever, but he electrocutes her, I think, doesn't he? I mean, this is what he loves doing. Yeah,
it's such a fun, like, this era electrocution, too. It's that whole, like, we're just going to scribble all over the fucking film and call that electricity. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, before, like, CGI was happening and stuff, they would just like get a fucking biro out and scribble all over the fucking film and shit. But this guy, obviously, like he's after absolutely everyone. And then the priest is trying to find his super horny daughter. She's the one that basically offers herself to Skip earlier on, but he's a mug and turns her down. But Gail, the barmaid, doesn't know where she is, and Skip is still looking for Ronnie. At this point, he still doesn't know. We know he's definitely dead. But Ronnie doesn't know. Skip doesn't know this. I'm getting fucking confused now. And then we get that scene, that random guy about how about them gators, baby, and I don't understand
Go
why he's
Gators.
there. I'm guessing it. Yeah, I'm assuming that it's just for comical relief he's there for, but it's
The
not
best
very
thing about
funny.
it is that they don't just double down on him; they like quadruple down on him because he keeps popping up after the first time. He's there like in at least 3 other scenes with the same 2-word line.
Like, is he in it for any reason? Like, is he like, I
For
didn't
fun.
know if in America, like, if he was somebody that like people knew or whether he's like sometimes on
Oh, that
adverts.
guy exists in absolutely every city in
Everybody knows
America.
that guy.
Yeah, that guy is all over like,
but not
if
that
we go to
specific guy.
yeah, like,
Right.
so Sean and I are just outside Detroit. If we go down to Detroit right now, I guarantee you there'll be at least one person like, "Go Tigers," or "Go Pistons," or,
Pistons or
whichever.
whatever.
So
So,
yeah,
yeah.
so basically he's one of those guys. But I didn't know if he was like somebody that had been in an advert saying like "Go Gators" or something like that,
Well, I
and
don't
then
think
they
so.
put him in this movie or anything like that. But you know, that's just me overthinking the movie once again. You know, it's not. I'm giving it too much credit.
We all know that
Then
guy, but nobody knows that guy.
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. At the hospital, and Gail and Skip are asking about Ronnie. They go to the hospital trying to inquire about him. Weirdly knows, and also this bit is weird because he weirdly knows every like little bit of detail about Ronnie, like even his dick size almost. Like he knows his weight, he knows everything, and it was just a bit
I
weird.
mean,
That
they're
bit.
on the same football team. That's part of,
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, stop bringing
stats.
logicality into this. You're fucking. You're bringing. You're right on everything. Stop it. But. But
It's the polar opposite of what happens on our show. I'm told I'm wrong on everything. So
oh no,
usually
yeah,
are.
but you've got to remember that you guys are talking to the thickest person that's ever lived. So everything you guys say is going to be right because I'm so stupid. But at this time, the doctor he says that no one is matching the description of Ronnie. He's basically lying at this point because you know we know Ronnie dead. We know that they had already done like an autopsy thing or whatever. They saw him in the wherever they fucking saw him at the hospital. So basically he's being a son of a bitch. He's not telling Skip what he wants to know. So they go then after that bit they go to the police station. They go there next, but still there's no luck and they sod off and they have a nice little chat talking about. So this bit in the scene, I don't know. This is probably the funniest bit of dialogue and how it's said for me in the scene. But basically, they're having a little bit of like of a conversation. Their first like big conversation of the movie, having a little bit of heart to heart in the world. So I mean, this isn't even a car chase, but it's still moving at snail's pace. Like it's so slow how he's driving this car. And basically, she starts talking about how she turns around and she talks about how she's got dead parents, basically, and she goes, "Oh, you know, my parents are dead." And I feel bad for laughing, but I don't because it's her delivery. You know what I mean? Like it's the way that she's saying it because she's not really very good. Like once again, you're right. Like you were saying earlier, she's right for a movie like this, but as like an actress, she's not like a good actress at delivering lines. She's fine for this, but not as an actress. So in this, the way that she's like, "Oh yeah, my parents are dead," and it's so funny. But then, so she's talking about a thing, but then she has a bit where she's just like, then she says, like, she's basically got the worst luck in the world because she talks about her parents being dead, and then he starts trying to have more of a conversation with her, and then she's just like, and then she says about her sister being murdered as well. So she's got like no luck whatsoever. But it's the way that she turns around and he turns out and he's like, "Oh, is this your house?" And then he's like, "Oh, do you live on your own?" And he's like, and then she turns around and goes, "Yeah, because my sister was murdered." And I'm like, it's the way that she said it. I was in absolute
like,
stitches.
My sister used to live here, but she was murdered.
Yeah, it's so funny. But it's one of those things where you're like, you have to laugh because of how poorly it's like represented in the movie. You know, of course it's not funny, but it's so funny in the context of like this movie and how it's done. And also like it's really like it's an awkwardly acted scene as well. Like I almost feel like there's nothing really like at all between these two people. It's very much like saying lines and so on, but saying lines really, really badly. And you know, they didn't know anything, how to write anything for her apart from the fact that everyone she loves is dead. So back at the hotel, and the perv's body has been found. So they found this guy's body, and then they also find the beautiful, sexy blonde lady that I was gutted when she died. And she was absolutely stunning. And then the Doc is getting worried now that Diablo has actually returned for revenge. But as he drives away, Skip is in the car as he puts a screwdriver. So basically, Skip ends up hiding in the back of the car, puts a screwdriver to him. Although it's the world's fakest screwdriver. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it doesn't. It's not even. It just looked like they gaffer taped something. I don't know, but it was awful. Puts it to
looks
his
like
neck.
it's out of a Fisher Price toy set. Like it's so just oversized. Like
that's probably why he held it so weirdly, to cover up the Fisher Price like logo on it or something like that. So so he keeps on, basically he's on his screwdriver to his neck and demands to know where Ronnie is. And the Doc tells him that he's dead. So obviously this is at the point that Skip actually knows where he's dead, and he wants to know where his body is. So Skip goes to goes to where Ronnie's body is and digs him up. He's crispy as fuck. But then once again, out of the blue, John Saxon, just the only job that he's got in this movie is just to turn up out of nowhere, as he does, and he tells him obviously, he's dead and where his body is and so on like that. And Skip, as I said, he's digging it up. But basically, this is like where John Saxon really starts. Like he's already been a bit of a dick. But this is like really like the moment where you're like, oh, this is like full bad guy John Saxon, like this is him being a proper dick, where he's like basically treating this guy like a piece of shit. Basically he threatens him and tells him to leave town, and then you're like, oh, John Saxon is actually like a proper bad guy. Back at the bar, and Gail is off. She's just getting off shift, and she has a fucking like a pizza delivery bike, like. And once again, like, I mean, if you're going to choose the slowest thing in the world, I mean, maybe that's why they did it. They're like, we cannot do high-speed chases, so we need to choose the lowest speed bike that we can possibly find. What have we got?
I think more likely all the shit they have on the Weekend Motorist, like motorcycle that's Demon is riding, probably weighed that bike down so much that if they got an actual faster bike, it would have just been so far ahead of them that they wouldn't have been able to shoot it.
Yeah, you're right. But it made me laugh when she just gets on this little pizza bike just like, it's so fucking slow. And it's just like how she kicks it off the kickstand and stuff. It's just such a rickety bike. And then obviously she's riding down the road, and guess what? The bloody killer biker decides to be after her. In, of course, like we've already mentioned, the world's slowest chase. Like they even put in music where the music is a tempo like two tempos higher than what's happening. But yes, so it's the fucking slowest chase ever. And then somehow she manages to get back in home just in time, so she doesn't get caught by the world's slowest chase. And then she gets a gun and then nearly shoots Skip. And then of course the biker at that point is fucked off. Back on the beach, and it's more boobs and bums.
That's the weirdest part about this entire movie to me, is he chases her home. She's just in this little trailer. He doesn't know that she's got a pistol back there, and I don't know that that'd be enough to like stop him. Why is he just fuck off because she went through this little screen door?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think the little trailer door is going to stop the majority of adult male that have like a murder boner. So,
yeah. I mean, I suppose the problem is it's one of those things where it has to happen for the purpose of the movie. Like
we've only shot 45 minutes. We need to go a little longer.
So yeah,
we need another 45.
Yeah, we need another 45, and we can't keep putting in the world's slowest chases. Otherwise, everybody's going to fall asleep. And then, so they're back on the beach, and it's more boobs and bum, and then there's been another murder. Psych! It's the fucking prankster again. There's not been a murder. Basically, randomly some hot blonde after this bit. Yeah, so like once again, we get like we haven't even seen this character before, I don't think. She's just like there because she's hot. And then she goes into like this, character
development.
Yeah, there's no character development whatsoever.
No, that is the development. She's hot. Problem solved.
That's all that matters. She's there. She's hot. And yeah, we have no idea who she is, but she basically gets her head smashed in by the killer. But she's not dead because we know that he absolutely loves electricity and fire. He hasn't just killed her there. He takes her somewhere else. He chains her up. And then somehow, I don't know how this works, like science-wise. I'm not a science man. And so don't ask me how, but basically she gets set on fire from a distance, and of course she's definitely dead, and you see it all like she melts and stuff. Like, it's not bad practical effects, but I don't get how the fire comes out from like there to like all the way
Because the
over
movie
here
said
to
so.
get. Because the movie said so, I suppose. Yeah, that's the only way. I mean, do we get a cool death out of it? Yeah, I'm not going to complain about that. But scientifically, I was like, I don't understand what the fuck is happening here. Like, I don't understand how this even happened. But once again, there's another sexy woman. She's definitely dead. At the mayor's office, and they are at this point they're all shitting their pants now, because obviously they now they're all like, oh shit, it must be Diablo that's doing this. You know, basically, especially the Doctor, because the Doctor, who was in, you know, remember all the Kevin Smith movies, he decides to blow his face off. So they're on the phone to him, and yeah, he decides to shoot himself in the face and blows his brains out. Maybe a bit dramatic, but that's just what he chose to do, I guess. They had to do something with the movie and with his character. Maybe that's what he wanted for his character. They're like, I've got to have something a little bit heavy.
I think they ran out of days that they were willing to pay him to shoot.
Yeah, they like ran out of money, and they're like, "Here's a gun, shoot yourself." Not really. He didn't really do it, obviously.
He did.
Skipping game.
I don't know if you knew that.
He did. He did.
His
Well,
method.
he's a method actor, yeah. So Skip and Gale are at the bikers gang's hangout, and Skip grabs the biker woman from earlier and starts to question her about Ronnie, but she says it wasn't them who killed him, and we know that that's right, of course, because now Skip and Gale are questioning what's happening. They go to some old trailer home where Gale and the bitch... I think I put old trailer home, but as I was writing this, then I started to realise that it was John Saxon's trailer. Is that right? But it's weird that he's like a cop and he's living in like a trailer home.
It goes against
Florida.
every 80s trope you can think of, where the cop probably makes, you know, $100 a week, and they live in this lavish, luxurious house or apartment. And in this example, this is probably where the chief of Manatee Beach probably lives, in this rundown trailer with a dog guarding it. And
yeah,
it's very accurate. It's very accurate to Florida.
Yes, true.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Trailers are really... Florida's one of those states that, like, the weather's so nice that a lot of people just don't stay inside. So a lot of people are willing to just have a trailer because they go there to sleep, and, you know, then they leave and do whatever else throughout the day.
Go and fucking party it up on the beach.
Yeah.
With tits and ass. So they go to this trailer straight away. Gale, the fucking bitch, worst bit of the movie, decides to pepper spray a dog. Of course, it's not real pepper spray, but she pepper sprays the dog. I would have just let it bit me. That's life. And then they go in there. Gun, and then there's obviously guns on the wall and stuff like this. Is when I realised that it was John Saxon's house. I was like, oh shit, this is his place, because there's guns and everything. At this point, I didn't realise, because I really wasn't clocking what the fuck the movie was doing. And then they also find some... This is where it goes really weird as well, because then they find like loads of basically creepy photos of dead people tied up, and then one of them is obviously the murdered sister of Gale's from earlier on, when we found out when you know, she didn't used to live alone because her sister got murdered. John Saxon is now home, and he knows somebody is there. Weirdly though, he does like the thing where rather than actually investigating, he just stands still at the door. Like, he doesn't fucking move.
You're skipping over them finding all his S&M gear and then never referring back to it ever again.
Oh yeah, well that's because I literally forgot about that before you said it. But yeah, like they found all the S&M stuff. Yeah,
I just love that it's in there, because it's this weird little like 2-second. I'm like, why is this in this movie? Like, cool, but why is this in this movie? And then again, they absolutely never refer to it a second time.
No, and is this saying like, so John Saxon, is he the one that's like doing like really horrible things to people? And then
I think that's what they're trying
like,
to imply, is to make it another. I think they're trying to imply that it's another red herring, and, you know, maybe he's the killer or something. But maybe it's because I've seen this a couple times and I know who the killer is. When I see it now, I'm just like, all right, dude's kinky, nothing wrong with that. Like, but they just gloss over it so quick that it's hilarious that it managed to make it to the movie in the first place.
Yeah, you're right. And then back with the Demons biker gang and the bitchy biker girl. Of course, she's at some point, we know that she's going to die, and she does. And guess what? She gets death by headphones. Also, once again, just like everything else in the movie, this is hilariously slow. It's just like the hand that is going. It's almost like they slow-moed his hand. It's going so slow, like with the wire. And she's like, I can't remember what film it was, but there's like a film or something like that, or a TV show where they do like that classic thing where like somebody's driving a car and they're standing there and they're like, like that, but then the car's so far fucking away, and then they're still standing there for ages going, when they could easily move out the way. And that's what this scene reminds me of, because she's literally like lying there with this guy going, like the killer going as slow as possible. And she's just like that, but for so fucking long. And she could have just, I mean, she could have fucking run out there.
I
I
love
feel
that
like a biker chick would have a fighting chance against who the killer ends up being.
I just love that when the wire that he produces, he just pulls out of the wall and it's all of a sudden bare wire. You know, there's a ground wire that they had to curve back so that, don't get that one in the way. And he's just so slowly putting it towards her. It's like what are those cords that you use for like your dryer, the 220 or whatever, like the really thick cable, but it just goes to an outlet. It's ridiculous. It's great.
It's like a lamp cable or something that he
Right, but it's
unplugs
like-
so it's current.
It's like a conduit, you know, it's like this whole
Yeah.
thing.
It's like one of the classic horror moments where logicality of any form of anything goes out the window, because it can. That's what's great about these deep cut 80s horrors, or just horror in general. Like, it literally, you know, movies like this, there is no logicality behind things, and that's what
It's not a
makes
fucking
these...
documentary. It's fun.
Yeah,
So,
and that's the thing. I mean, that's what I mean, this is, like I said right at the start, like there is, and I'll talk about this more later as well, but there's a reason like why, like when you find movies like this, then you always go back to them, you know, because of films like this, you know. But then we cut to a proper 80s band playing, and Gale is getting threatened by John Saxon, but Skip has a plan, and that's to use Gale as bait to get the killer biker in, once again, a slowest chase. The demon biker gang have now decided to take over the police station. I don't really know why this shit happens. Like, why are they taking over
breaking
the
their
police
friend out.
station?
they're pissed off at John Saxon and they're breaking their friend out of jail.
Yeah, he got
okay.
framed.
Yeah,
He's
that's
getting
right. Yeah,
framed
I
for
completely
some of the
forgot
murders.
that guy. I forgot that guy went to jail. That's how fucking much I paid attention. But yeah, so they go to the police station. We cut back to the band playing, but then the power cuts. But it's obviously it's only the prankster. Psych! It's not the fucking prankster once again. This time he's actually dead. They kill the prankster, and then Spring Break Town now turns to Panic Town. Gale and Skip's plan is now in action to catch the killer, but she's now followed by the killer. Only a really creepy cop. There's a bit. This bit, you think that she's being chased by the killer, but then it's this. The cop does the weirdest looking face.
Yeah, he's
to
just
her.
like,
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. Like, he looks like he's so fucking creepy, that guy. Like, I think I might have had a nightmare about his face when I went to sleep the night I watched this. But yeah, he's really creepy. But yeah, so she
He's by far the scariest thing in this movie.
yeah, he is like legitimately scary, is that guy's face. Not that he probably likes the thought of being, well, I don't know. Maybe he's dead as well. Everybody I talk about is dead, apparently.
he got paid.
He got paid, yeah, exactly, yeah. As we see Pandemonium is hitting this Spring Break Town, and Gale is still out on a pizza bike, and Skip is on his way to help her. But then once again, of course, when Skip is on the way to help her, John Saxon, out of the fucking blue, turns up again. It's the only thing he's doing in this movie. He's turning out of the blue. He turns up out of nowhere, and he tries to more than likely murder Skip. So basically, I think does he try and stab Skip or something? Because he's got him up against the wall. He's got a gun, that's right.
Pistol. Yeah.
And he's basically going to murder Skip. You know, he's gone full bad guy. But then the bikers turn up and then shoot him. They shoot John Saxon. He's like, oh, like that, like proper, you know, like hamming it up.
This is my favorite death in the entire movie, because it's so like, it feels like it's from a different movie that they put it in.
Yeah.
And it goes so much farther than you would, even though you don't see the majority of how he dies. Just the where this goes, and I'm sure you're gonna say it here. I was like, well, that's how, for a movie that has a lot of outside the box kills, I didn't see that coming, and it makes me laugh every time they drag him away. So
yeah, well, that's it. They shoot him, and then they chain his legs up or whatever, and then they drive away with him in the car while he's getting dragged away. But once again, I mean, you might think they're different to me, but I once again felt that was anticlimactic as well, because It reminded me like a little bit, like I said at the start, where the guy's getting electrocuted, but nothing really happens too
It's
much.
kind of
It's like a
like
Whereas,
the Indiana Jones sword fight where the guy comes out and waves his sword all over and Indiana Jones just shoots him. It's
yeah,
kind of
that's
that
it.
anticlimactic feel that, for me, when you have that moment in a movie, whether it's Indy or this, or I'm sure there's others I'm not thinking of at the moment, it just makes me laugh because it subverts your expectations so much, and it's just as brutal, but just like, yeah, no, we don't have time for that shit. We gotta wrap this movie up. So
It's
Yeah,
like an
yeah,
old West
exactly.
movie. Like the
yeah,
horse, they tie him up and they just drag him off, and that's what's hilarious about it. They just drag him off, and that's it. Like that's the
yeah.
last you hear of him. No mentions ever made. Like what happened to the chief? I don't know. He just got dragged off by a motorcycle gang. Like, oh, that happened again. All right, I guess time to find another
Yeah.
chief again.
Exactly. Like every chief they've ever had,
Yeah.
it's always
Oh
been dragged
shit.
off by these bikers. Like not a fucking another one. Like we got to start banning chains or something like that in this town because all these fucking cops and sheriffs keep getting dragged away by cars. But yeah, so of course you know we don't see it, but John Saxon presumed dead. They obviously driving off. They leave Skip to search for Gale. Now, Gale is wandering around and finds the dead body of Diablo. Like, she goes into this place and she actually sees Diablo's body. So we know then, obviously, at that point, it's not him. He hasn't come back from the dead. He's not killing everyone. So who the absolute shit is it? But then the killer biker, he
There's only
actually
like
turns
3
up.
characters left in the movie at this
Yeah,
point. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. We know it's not Diablo. We know it's not like John Saxon or anything like that. Even though obviously he's got some demons in his closet or whatever. But he turns up and then he grabs Gale. But then after a struggle, she takes off. She takes off his helmet, and guess who it is? It's the
Ronnie.
fucking priest.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
damn.
but yeah, he's the
there's
fucking
total
priest.
Scooby-Doo James Bond villain for a couple minutes here. So
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he proper like hams it up and stuff like that. Like, you know, he's doing like proper like thespian like theater acting, so to speak, you know, delivering his lines and stuff like that. But yeah, it's the priest. But then they do run away with the killer biker priest in hot pursuit.
at
And
4 miles an
then
hour.
yeah, at 2 miles per hour. But then suddenly, because clearly they had no better way to kill him off in this movie, once again, anticlimactic, but he basically he drives into a fucking tire and then he flips over from the tire and then goes into randomly some electrical wire that just so happens to be one live and be
Yeah,
fucking
bare wires.
everywhere. Yeah, like a spider's web of working electrical wires in this like abandoned place that doesn't make any sense. And then of course he's now the one that's definitely dead. Once again, like the problem with this is that there's like that would be like one of my, I mean we'll talk about it anyway, but one of my annoying things about this movie is the like the big moments we're not seeing like everything that we need to, like everything's like it's always cut really quickly, you know what I mean, like everything's like, because they can't do anything other than 2 mile per hour chases and they can't make a 2 mile per hour chase go on for like 5 or 10 minutes. They just do a really short chase and then they're like, how do we kill him? He just drives into a fucking tire. Like it's dumb, it's stupid, but then at the same time, that's the charm of the movie, isn't it? Like that's the thing with these movies.
I was gonna say I like that about this because this movie has that feel of like how much we've shot hour and 15 minutes of movie.
Hour and 29.
I'm tired of this. I want to go take a nap. Let's finish this up real quick. And it's like, I don't know, put a tire in his way. Boom,
It's like
problem
that
solved,
meme.
movie over. So
It's like that meme where the kid's riding the bike and he has the stick and he sticks the spoke in there and then he's on the ground. It's like almost that
Yeah.
exact sequence of events
Yeah.
that happened for this guy to actually get electrified.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right, and it's funny.
it is ridiculous and kind of anticlimactic, but it's also like
It's what you'd expect.
it's what you expect. And also, I
Yeah.
like this movie, but there's also a point you're like, if this goes too much longer, you might be pushing the like.
Yeah.
How many dumb things can we make happen or expect you to just go along with at this point? So
Well,
it's
I'm
almost like the
surprised they
movie's
didn't cut
aware of
away.
the fact. Well, it's like the movie's aware of the fact that it's like this is a
That
dumb movie.
movies
We
are supposed to be an hour and a
better
half.
wrap this up. Yeah. So
I mean, and literally the way that this movie wraps up, this movie does feel like, oh shit, we're at an hour, 29 minutes and 45 seconds. Let's wrap this up, guys. Got to get
Because
lunch.
that's literally what they do. Because they literally, the guy, he's dead. Then we get like, I suppose, like I said, the anticlimactic, but still fun death. And then the next scene is literally spring break's fucking over. They're in the car. And then Skip and Gale, they drive off into the sunset pretty much. And then that's the end of the movie. But you're right.
This-
They're like, we fucking hit it. We hit that time.
Man, it's getting late. You want to go get some lunch? Yeah, let's go get some lunch. Okay. And then it's a shot of the beach, freeze frame, credits roll.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. I was expecting it to end on just another show of boobs and butts, and then that's the way people leave the cinema. Like everybody walks out with a boner, like that's it. But they don't. It's just like, how do we end
walking?
it? Yeah,
trying to hide it.
exactly. Don't look at me. But that's it. But that's the movie. That's everything that happens in the movie. Of course, obviously, general conversation wise. I obviously, I'll say what I think about this movie, and then you guys can. I mean, well, do you know what? We're getting to our overall thoughts in a minute. I mean, but general conversation. I haven't really got anything other different written down here, apart from the fact that it's a movie full of bad performances in regards to like bad actors. But the point is, in like you were saying, and what I've got written down here is that's what makes the movie fun. Is like movies like these, like they're made fun by all the things that like might not actually be good. Does that make any sense? Like if the movie, if you had performances in a movie like this that were actually like high level performances, I think it would become boring. But the fact that you've got like cheesy acting, cheesy performances, bad line delivery, that's what makes it fun, because it makes it a bit more memorable. Because then you're like, I remember how awkwardly this person talked about their family getting murdered and how bad the delivery was. That's what makes movies like this like really fun. And that's why like movies like this, like I always keep going back to, because that's the thing, they're fun, aren't they? There's loads of really, especially on John Saxon, there's loads of really hilarious zoom ins for no reason whatsoever. Like they go from like really far out to zoom in, like but once again, it's those extra milliseconds for runtime just to make that like little thing. They're like, fucking zoom in on it. Just hold it, John Saxon. Hold that look. We're going to zoom in on you. And that makes it funny. Of course, fucking great soundtrack. I love the soundtrack in this. It's, it's definitely interesting because it's like a crossover of like 80s to early 90s sort of stuff with what it is, but it's a good soundtrack. Obviously, practical effects, they're good and shit at the same time. That looks, they look good and they look fun. And then, of course, boobs. That's the only thing I've put for other general conversation. Is there any other bits? Is there any other, before we get into overall thoughts, is there any other scenes in it or any other moments that you want to talk about that we haven't?
I don't think so.
Overall, I like that as the movie progresses, the people look more, and especially Skip looks more and more sunburnt. Like he hasn't put any sunscreen on. He's kind of pale at the beginning, like regular skin tone. And then by the end, he's just full on radioactive red. Yeah. Just like we can see this guy coming. Right. We don't need it to be bright in this scene because we don't even need to light this guy.
He's gone like full Freddy Krueger by the end of the movie. Yeah. There we go. Well, then production info and facts. So you guys might be able to help or know more than me about this, because as I said, there's hardly anything about it, and one of them I've already spoke about. So really, there's only one. But Umberto Lenzi, which is probably pronounced wrong, but whatever. He was originally hired to direct and had a falling out with the producer just as production started, and wanted to be taken off the film. His name to be taken off the film, and decided before shooting began that his name would not appear on the film. Screenwriter Henry Kirkpatrick, also known as James Justice, was given the job of directing and received solo directorial credit, though he convinced Lenzi to remain on set in an uncredited advisory capacity throughout the entire production. For years, many horror film fans thought Harry Kirkpatrick was an alias for Lenzi. But Lenzi has stated in interviews that there really was a Harry Kirkpatrick who wrote and co-directed the film. He explained, my contribution consisted solely of providing technical assistance. Nightmare Beach 1989 should be considered the work of Harry Kirkpatrick. I mean, I don't know the fuck any of these people are, so it doesn't matter to me anyway. But, and I don't think I've probably ever seen a movie that any of these people have ever made apart from this. But yeah, it looks as though, because if you go to like Google or anything, it says Umberto Lenzi is the director. But by reading that, it doesn't look as though it is. So I don't fucking know.
So the one thing that I always think is really interesting and fun with this, and Sean, if I'm misremembering this, feel free to yell at me.
I will.
Lenzi got this movie greenlit to get a free trip to Miami or Fort Lauderdale, wherever the hell it was in Florida. He also worked on another movie while he was here at about the same time, if not the same time, called Primal Rage, which pairs really well with this movie. It's a lot of the same type of vibes, a lot of the same type
A lot
of
of the same
insanity,
actors.
a lot of the same actors. So at some point, it sounds like he just said fuck it, and I believe I didn't Primal Rage come out like the year before this, or it wasn't Primal Rage first and then this one. So
I think it was released earlier, but yeah, from everything I've read, they were filmed pretty much at the same time.
yeah, and it's even got things like, pretty sure it's the same band playing the same song at the
Yep,
same party
same
scene
song.
at the same stage and all that stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff that
Scooters.
feels like they're scooters, comically great acting, about an hour and a half
Sarah
like
Buxton.
runtime. Yeah, so I think that's my favorite thing with the production side of this is just the links it has with Primal Rage. And although they're really like Primal Rage is essentially a movie about a monkey that bites a guy and the guy goes nuts and chaos ensues. So they're very different types of movies, but they have a lot of the same type of tendencies, and the same things that make this movie fun also make that movie a lot of fun.
Well, do you know what? Let's just bloody get into our overall thoughts, because the only other fact I had was that they have demons from the movie Demons written on the back, but there is nothing else like I could find about this movie about it. So you've actually given me more than what I fucking had anyway. So thanks. But there we go. But overall thoughts on the movie. Either or start with you, Sean. You can go first, because I think do you like the movie more than John? We'll find out. Do you know what? Fuck it, we'll find out.
I don't remember where we came out. I think I probably do. I really like that this movie. You said earlier that it feels like it might be a transition into 90s movies. I don't feel like this is at all, doesn't feel at all like the start of a 90s thing. Every thematic thing in this movie, well, number one, we'll talk about like, this is such a weird mix of a spring break, a pseudo slasher type movie, and I don't know if I've seen any movies that have the elements of Spring Break, have these killers, have this almost supernatural style killer that runs through the entire cast. And the thing that's really unique about this, again, is that setting. It feels so much, this movie and Primal Rage. It's hard for me to kind of separate them because they're so similar and the themes are very similar. It captures, if you are, I've seen so many like spring break movies, so many summer teen movies of the 80s. This feels like those comedy style, sex romp style things. This has so many elements of that if you've seen, I don't know, stuff like Weekend Pass, or if you've seen movies like Last American Virgin, or like one of those things, it even like a Porky's kind of feel, it has those kind of elements to it, but it adds like, they were like mixing it up in a big bowl, and they like, oh, oops, we got some Friday the 13th mixed in here. We got some Halloween mixed in here. They're just mixing in these horror elements to it. This is an Italian, we associate Umberto Lenzi with this movie, but there's no, and I think John said it earlier about dubbing. There's no dubbing in this movie. They're all American actors, except even like the Tina, the girl, the biker girlfriend of Diablo and Dog, I think is the guy who John may have thought was Italian, but I don't think he is. I think even those elements, like, they're all American. There's no dubbing. There's nobody that appears on screen that is speaking clearly another language, and their voice is piped in over. So there's like that element of high production, and kind of to point out, BP, what you said is, it's just like, if this was, I'm going to use Inception as a example. Like, if you had Inception style acting in this movie, it would have been so forgotten, because it's like that there's such high production value in something like that, a Christopher Nolan movie. If we had Christopher Nolan style acting in this movie, it would have just been like another, like a mimic or something, where it's like nobody remembers Mimic. Nobody looks back fondly on Mimic, and
Mimic
we're
and
like, that
Relic.
was such a man, Mimic, such a great movie. Nobody even thinks about it. I mentioned it, and probably half the people that are listening to this are like, what the fuck's Mimic? So because this movie has such low, like mediocre production value, it's interesting because it's actually filmed at a spring break, which is just chaos anyways. It's just such an interesting idea, such an interesting concept to me. I love this movie. I've seen it since we talked about it. I've seen it several more times just in passing to watch it, or we showed it at Frankenstein's. It was just like, it's a fun movie, and you don't take it too seriously because nothing in this movie is even shown in a serious light. So I just
Yeah.
think it's a great kind of, let's put this on, let's watch this kind of movie. And you don't, Michael Parks is in it, and there's all these little things that are sprinkled in about his homosexuality that they don't really ever they just mention it in passing about how they found, I don't know, like, oh, maybe it's like your boys that we found, blah 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 blah. It's just these weird little elements to it that they don't ever touch on, and all these red herrings, all these things that are in there that don't amount to much of anything, but they're in there to throw you off the case as to who the actual killer is. Because the whole time you're thinking, oh, they're so dead set on it being Diablo, and it's not, that it's just like, this is so weird. Why are they so dead set on this guy that clearly got electrocuted being the killer, and the person that it is so Scooby-Doo? I would have got away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids. He may as well have said that at the end. It would have totally fit in, and nobody would have batted an eye about it. So I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's great.
I mean, I'm right there with him. I think when you look at like 80s horror movies, there's like one of two ways they tend to go, which there's the early 80s stuff, which is a little bit more grimy and a little bit more hard edged. And somewhere between like 84 and 85, they started getting more commercially viable and getting sillier, kind of like this. And generally, when you think of like the VHS era and like the video store rental era, like those types of horror movies, this is the kind of gem that you wanted to find. It gets all the gnarly deaths in there. It shows enough of them, but it's still silly and goofy and fun. It's not something that you want to think too much about. I really like slasher movies when they take you out of like the traditional slasher setting. So like, we're not in a spooky house or like a creepy town. We're not in fall. Everything is lit up to the nth degree here, so you're seeing everything that's on screen. They're not playing too many camera tricks where they're hiding someone in the dark, and it just works. Like, is it a masterpiece? Is it something where you're going to be like, oh my god, this is cinema right here? No, but this is the kind of movie that's just endlessly fun. It's easy to kind of put on and just have on as something fun to watch. It's a good one to kind of crack a few beers with friends with and kind of laugh at. It checks all the boxes on what I want out of a mid 80s horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is so. I mean, I talk about this like quite a lot, and in fact, one of the only things that's made me ever feel intelligent was when I got published in a little horror magazine, and this is one of the movies that I mentioned in it, where I was, and like I said right at the start, like I look at movies like this now, even though of course they're from a time of the history of horror, that these are like the types of movies that I feel that horror needs now, because there's so much fun sucked out of horror because of obviously the nihilism and everything like that, that these are the movies that I truly love watching when it comes to like horror, because it doesn't matter like how bad they might be actually made. Like we all know, like from
I feel
the
like that's a
show.
problem for every genre, not just horror, but I agree with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it's like the thing is that everybody that if you know Let's Talk Horror, you know how important cinematic aesthetics are and the look of movies are. Like, if you know, like, that is who I am, like, through and through. Like, I love how beautiful movies can look, and especially horror. But this is like one of the movies that is, like, for me, almost like a comfort watch, where I don't have to think about any of that. And that's not saying like this movie looks like utter shit, but there's not anything like creativity wise, like we've already mentioned, like the scenes where it's the chases that are the slowest chases in the world. A camera is just set up to film it. There's nothing exciting about it. There's not, in regards to the filmmaking as a filmmaking technical journey and process, there isn't really anything in this that makes you go, wow, fucking, like, that looks fucking gorgeous and stuff. So that's why it's always interesting where these movies like this are the ones that for a long time now are the ones that are almost like a palate cleanser. You know, like I watch these movies because I'm like, I want to actually have some fun. I want to take myself away from modern day horror and the way that it is, and I want to take myself sort of back in time to when movies didn't need any form of logicality whatsoever, didn't really need anything massively special too much about them. But what they were is like they are unapologetically exactly what they are. Like that's the way that I look at these movies. Like they are just made to be. They are movies made to make a movie that has enough runtime to be put out there. But then, of course, then that's the reason that I love this movie is because then that's the reason we get so many of these underrated or underappreciated deep cut gems that no one really knows about or talks about. Like I say this quite a bit, but a movie like this, if I go up to quite a few horror fans, I don't even know if anyone will know, you know, this movie or, you know, especially in the UK, you know, as I always say, it's a very big difference between, you know, American horror fans and UK horror fans, you know, and a lot of people in the UK might think that they watch Scream and they know everything about horror, you know, when that's obviously a mainstream horror. But for us over here, like if you want to go like diving deep into like horror, this is the type of movie over here, like no one will really know about at all. Or like you might get one person that goes, yeah, I've seen Nightmare Beach, and that's why I love this movie, because it means that of course like having a conversation and putting a movie like this out there is what's important, because like I said, I think that this is the type of movie, irrelevant of how it made, irrelevant of how it's acted, irrelevant of how it looks, it's the type of movie I think that we need and I wish there was more of now, because of how fun it is, and it's like an escapism from the darkness of what horror is, and it's so much fun. And there's a lot of things that really don't work in this movie. There's a lot of really stupid fucking things in this movie, but that is the charm, and that's what's great about these movies. There's so much charm to these types of movie, even if they are doing a lot of things that they don't do in modern day horror cinema or life, like the sexualization of women. You know, it was a different, you know, like, you know, cinematic experience, I suppose, back in the 80s and so on like that. But yeah, I mean, I love this movie. As I said, it's a movie that I talk about quite a bit and reference quite a bit in episodes and in conversations, because it's just fucking fun, and you can just sit there and watch people like die and in anticlimactic ways, but yet it's still fun, and I really enjoy it. So there we go. So that's the movie. That's everything with Nightmare Beach. As I always say when I do these episodes, I'm assumed that everybody's seen it. But then I also know that no one has seen this movie. So if you don't, you know, make sure that, you know, if you listen to this episode just because it's going to be a bloody fun episode, make sure you actually watch the movie. I think over in the UK it is available on Amazon. I don't know where it is with you guys over there. But I know that we can get it on Amazon over here. But it's a very fun watch, and it takes you out of like life for a little bit. Like you get to just experience something that's just a little bit fun and charming. On the show, of course, I always have the segment Your First Time. This is where I read out a horror movie memory that you have sent over to me to read out to everyone. Of course, I love this segment, and I've been doing it since I first started the show. And then after this bit, because obviously John and Sean are return guests, I'm going to ask them both for a recommendation as well after this, so it gives them a little bit of time to think of a recommendation for everyone. But this one was sent over to me by Joe, who is on Instagram as the Beardy Film Guy 95. So if you want to find them over there, that's how you find them on Instagram. But they put my first horror movie memory. They were 8 years old, and my sister, who's 10 years older than me, was babysitting me, and a friend brought Candyman over on DVD. She let me stay up and watch it with them. It scared the life out of me. I remember being in bed that night and needing to pee, but I'd have to walk past the mirror outside the bathroom. I ran so fast with my eyes closed. To this day, it's one of my favourite horror movies and will always hold a place in my heart. And as I've mentioned on the show before, I am a man that's now over my, in my 40s, and I will still not do the fucking Candyman in the mirror stuff because I am not risking it. It's never happening. So thank you for sending that one over to me. As I always say, because I always forget to put it out there and then I go, shit, I haven't got any to read out. But if any of you out there want your first time horror movie memory read out on the show, basically look at it as free promo. You're welcome. Then just send it over to me, ideally on Instagram, because that's pretty much the only one I look at. Send me a DM on Instagram with your first time horror movie memory, and then I will read it out on the show. And please do, because I genuinely love reading them. I love hearing how you started on your journeys through horror. Whether it's something that propelled you into horror and you wanted to watch more, or whether you were so fucking scared you never watched it again. I want to know, and it's still fun, and I want to share it on to the rest of this incredible horror community. Recommendation time. I want to know what recommendation, because I've had some pretty good ones so far. Let's go, Sean. We might as well start with you again. What's a recommendation? Sorry.
I mean, if we're talking about this movie, and I think I'm stealing John's, and if he would have went first, he was going to steal mine, and we talked about it already. Primal Rage. No, that's not going to be a recommendation. Okay, John's shaking his head for the. I think if you're interested in this movie, go check out Primal Rage. Like I said, it's so thematically similar. It's got a lot of the same people in it. It's got the creepy guy from that's peeping in on the prostitute, the lady of the night, as BP so kindly put it. He's in the movie for a short amount of time. That's available on Tubi in the US. I don't know about over anywhere else, but in the US, it's on Tubi, and you can watch it for free there.
Yeah, you can watch it on, I think it's Amazon or Shudder over here as well, because I watched it. And that, yeah, you're right. I mean, you know, it's a good double bill, like having this one and Primal Rage. John, recommendation, go on.
I'm gonna give you two, because one is admittedly not easy to find. First, the movie that everyone should watch, especially everyone in this room, is The Nostril Picker from 1993. It's a classic Mark Nowicki film about a dude who turns into a girl and kills other girls. What more?
I've seen that one, John. Has someone else here not seen that yet?
Someone else here has not seen that yet, but you should watch it again because it's a classic.
I will. I'm gonna do it right now. Gotta go.
Monday.
My other recommendation, I'll give you a newer movie. This is really no relation to whatever the hell we just started. Nightmare Beach has no relation to that. Only Fangs came out last year. It's a A&P film. They also directed Murder Size and a bunch of other stuff, but it is a newer independent filmmaker making a vampire movie where the vampires essentially build a app much like OnlyFans. They call it OnlyFangs. They use said app to lure victims in, and shenanigans ensue. If you like a lot of attractive women that are barely dressed and biting people, you'll have a lot of fun with it. So
I thought you were going to go with Psycho Ape.
Psycho Ape's another great movie. You should also watch Psycho Ape, which is on Tubi right now.
We should just get a recommendation corner with John, like on every episode. I'll just have a recommendation corner with John, because you could just keep on recommending movies. But yeah,
you're gonna get The Nostril Picker every week until you actually watch it and talk about it on this show.
Yeah, I mean, one day maybe I will. Like,
you're a big. I know you're a big Carpenter fan. You're a big fan of like classic horror movies that might be cinema. This movie gives The Exorcist a run for its money.
Okay, well then I feel like I have to watch it then, don't I? But then I will do. I promise I'll try and watch it for you. But there we go. That is the episode. We've gone through everything we can. Of course, I've already said make sure you go and watch Nightmare Beach, and of course go and check out the recommendations from John and Sean that they've given. Now is your time. I don't know which one is best to do it, or you both do it at the same time. But well, maybe not at the same time. Obviously, that'd be fucking weird. But you guys, it's now time for you to promote everything that you guys do with Dewey Pod-Monster. I'll talk a little bit about that afterwards, after you guys have promoted it. But now's your time.
I think that's my job. I'll keep it relatively short. You can find us at crap.town. That's our site. Everything that we do is on there. We also are members of the You Run Podcast Network, so you can find us on that site as well, yourunpodcast.com. We have a Patreon up now, so if you would like to help support us, we would appreciate it. Anyone who's already supporting us, we appreciate it. That is patreon.com/Dewey Pod-Monster. And past that, we're on social media all over the place at Dewey Pod-Monster, aside from Blue Sky, where we are at crap.town.
So everybody that knows is on my socials with Let's Talk Horror. You know that I'm always like reposting, sharing on, doing little things, stories about Dewey Pod-Monster. It is a show that I listen to or watch, whichever one, all the time. It's always so much fun. Of course, talking with you guys, but it's great fun with your show. I do love it. So everybody, make sure that you go and check it out. Even though that they don't think that I watched the episode about Nightmare Beach or whatever, I absolutely did. And I know that I did because I don't miss the episodes. But and I definitely wouldn't have missed that one. But everybody go and you will be all ready. But if you're not, go and support everything that John and Sean do with Dewey Pod-Monster. Go and check out their Patreon. Make sure rate, review, subscribe on YouTube, everything like that. They're just a couple of beautiful bearded bastards having some absolute top-notch conversations, and it's not just horror; it's bloody everything. So if you want to hear them talk about, I don't know, Terminator 3,
Drama.
why the yeah, exactly. Why the hell not? Go and enjoy it, and go and enjoy everything they do. In regards to Let's Talk Horror, of course, I can't. I have to close out the show talking about the absolute legendary honorary creepazoids, as they're called, over on our Patreon. We got Jamie, we got Rob, we got Leighton, we got Kate, and we got Michael. They are, as I say, my honorary creepazoids over on Patreon so far. And as John and Sean both said as well, we do Pod-Monster. They also have a Patreon. Patreon is a fantastic way to go and above and beyond to show people that you really enjoy what they love, what they do. Really a great way to keep motivating these people that are creating things that you love. And also it's great because you get loads of exclusives. So if you like what I do with Let's Talk Horror, if you like what John and Sean do with Pod-Monster, just go to patreon.com, put in our shows or anybody out there that's creating content that you enjoy. Go and check it out and see if there's anything you can do. Patreon, as I said, is a great way to keep growing communities for independent podcasters and YouTubers and stuff like that. So go to patreon.com, go and check all that out. Whether it's, as I said, either anyone's show, and they've probably got a Patreon. But thank you to those guys and gals that are on my journey with me through horror. But that is pretty much a show. Thank you once again to both John and Sean for coming on the show and talking with me about a movie that no one really knows about.
The Nostromo.
So there we go. Yeah, or that film as well. But there we go. But for the rest of you, until next time, stay creepy, fuckers.